If you've been playing this game long enough, you will have tried to bow your lead wrist. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some thoughts on how these wrist angles play an important part in your golf swing. And bowing your wrist is the last thing that you should be doing. Spend any amount of time on the internet and I am pretty confident that you will have at some point tried to bow your lead wrist in takeaway, bowed your lead wrist at impact in an effort to try to hit the ball to the left. Try to create a negative face to path value. The problem is that if you bow your lead wrist, you are making your golf swing less functional. You may hit the golf ball a little bit straighter, but the reality is that you will actually take energy out of your strike. Because when you bow your lead wrist, what actually occurs is that you reduce set in your golf swing, which is going to kill off the leverage. That leverage is the speed down at strike. Therefore, today, wrist angles is the topic. Wrist angles and how they will affect the ability to put pressure on the grip and how you're going to line up your club path to hit your target more often. So when you place your hands on the golf club, and most notably your lead hand, we want to think about it as trying to create force on the golf club. That force on the golf club with both hands being pushed down is to offset the sag of the club head down through strike. The sagging of this club head down through strike makes the grip try to lift up. And these wrist angles, when you're coming into the golf ball, if the wrist angles aren't more of a kink through strike, you won't be able to use the pad of that left hand to create compression on the golf ball. The more that I push down through the pad of the hand, the more I will try to create that kink that you can see nicely here at impact and at setup. So as I then start to work the golf club back and it unloads down through strike, can you see how that kink is still very present? And look how that club face lines up. The reality is we can create external rotation of the forearms that creates the speed down at strike without losing the kink. Losing the kink, putting a bow in through your lead wrist, is to offset what most golfers have been doing, and that's trying to swing too much from the inside. So when we put the pressure on the grip down through strike, it's really important that that pressure down on the grip through strike makes the face straight. If you started with a faulty grip to begin with, and your grip looks something like this, with a lead hand, the lead wrist here doesn't have any kink in it, you're going to find it very, very difficult to utilize the grip that I recommend in this video. So now we've got a wrist angle at address that looks more like this. Now as I swing the golf club back, I can start to see more shape in my lead wrist at halfway back, which helps me set the golf club, create more load. If I was to bow my lead wrist at this point, look how the set comes out, because my wrist angles can't move to the same amount as they can when I've got cup in them. Cup has been seen as a real negative in the golf swing. But when you've got the correct grip, you can cup your wrist on the way back and it can make the club face straight because the grip to begin with was in the right position. So these wrist angles, and most notably the lead wrist, is the real conduit to making these levers work down through strike. If you get your lead hand in the right spot, when you come to set the club, the kink will stay there. The kink will still be there when we swing the golf club, and therefore the loft of the golf club as it swings to the other side will still be there too. So this left hand is the energy, but it's also the ingredient that lines the face up. So get yourself your golf club, lay it down on the floor, the things I do for YouTube, I don't know. And what I want you to do is a press up. Yep, we're back to the old press ups again. And when you now lift the grip up, you can see where the contact patch is with my hand. Now, if you were to do a press up and you were to make your hand too much on the edge of the golf club, your hand would slip off. If your hand was too much into the fingers when you're applying the pressure, you wouldn't feel very powerful either. You will find the right spot. By doing this press up, you will find the right spot on the golf club to position your hand. Now, close your fingers on. Now you're in a good spot. It's really not difficult, but the amount of times I advise people to do that press up on the grip, and I don't seem to be able to get them to do it. You don't have to do a press up. Get on your hands and knees like I just did and put your hand on the club. And what you will end up with is a grip that looks more like this. And what you'll now be able to do is when you set the golf club is create this kink here. Then what you'll be able to do is swing the golf club down through strike. And when the club is swinging, you'll now see how the loft of the golf club is still on the golf club. And as it swings, the loft will start to look up. Now at that point, the club has swung, I've still got kink in my lead wrist. Now if I put my trail hand on, you can see I've not got any wrap over at all. But the golf club is swinging. And when the golf club swings, that's where you get lots of energy from. So unless you place your lead hand on the golf club in the right manner and create that kink that I talk about, it'll be very difficult for you to load the golf club on the way back, unload it on the way through, and have the loft pointed in the right direction. So let's give it a go then. There's the kink. There's the kink still present on the way back with set. I can pull the golf club still, and I can now make the golf club swing, and I can see, and you can see, I've still got the kink in my lead wrist. I've still got a face to path value that's negative at 0.6 closed. The more a golfer has their face to path value zeroed out, the more a club path is created straight to the target. Because that ball only went to the right because my path was from the inside at 5 degrees. Changing your path is simple when you have a face to path value that's under your control. So now I've got my face to path under control, I can now start to use my leg action to line my path up more. So I now have a path line that's starting to get straighter. I had a face to path there at 3 degrees closed. I'm going to make that grip come even more forward so it can come a little bit more back inside so that I can now make my path line straighter to the target without it being so much from the inside. And I start to make that ball draw more to the left. So these wrist angles are crucial in your ability to create shape right to left in the sky and the ability to start to straighten up your path. So let's send you out now with a really nice wrist angle, a really nice path line so that we can end on a super neutral ball flight down to your target. So really focus on how you grip the golf club, folks. That will really inspire you to have a really good wrist angle in your backswing and in your downswing. And it will give you the opportunity to unload that golf club with loft. Once you manage that face to path value that's dictated by how you put your lead hand on the golf club. Are you tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves? Head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves tried and trusted by elite amateurs and tour players alike. Enter my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out, you won't be disappointed. That allows you to put force on the grip, that allows you to keep the face to path value neutral, you'll take control of that path line. And absolutely, all of your Christmases will come early. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, consider subscribing while you're here. And that, my friends, is good coaching.